Hello all, my name is Erta the Wanderer, and I've come out of the jungle today to talk with one of our most esteemed generals, the Great Lizard Wizard. How are we doing today, Wizard?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
A bit tired, but nothing beyond the norm.
I slept 12 hours last night, to my great surprise.
Yeah, that it always surprises me as well when you've been getting a little less sleep than you need for a couple weeks, and then your body just says, "Nope, I'm sleeping all day today."
Yeah, it was like 6:30 and I was like, Forget it. I'm going to bed. I'm just exhausted." And I figured I'm going to wake up at like 4 in the morning and have like an extra. Nope. Slept all the way through 12 straight hours.
Hmm, sounds nice. I'm gonna be
Yeah, it
honest.
was lovely.
All right, but we've got erratas, and well, just erratas. No more FAQs. Uh,
Yeah, they just put the Q&A inside the errata.
yep. I mean, I don't. It doesn't need to be separate, and at least you have everything in one place,
Yeah.
so you don't have to comb through two. But it takes some getting used to. But we've got a
Yeah.
whole bunch of core rules changes for their watertight rules. We've got some interesting changes to the Seraphon. Some good
Hmm.
stuff, some bad stuff, and some copy paste stuff they should have known better for already.
Hmm.
And we're going to cover it all today. Huzzah. Any initial thoughts before we dive right in?
Uh, Nothing really glaring. Like it's all stuff we'll get to as we approach it.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, and let's dive right in with core rules changes. They there's a couple pages where nothing happens, and then they decided to make some battle tome battalions useless.
Yeah.
If an ability allows a unit to receive a command without command being issued and without a command point being spent, do the restrictions that you cannot use this command ability more than once in the same phase still apply? Yes, which means does this ability work? And they told us no.
Yeah. You don't have to spend a command point, but otherwise it's exactly like it's the same as strategist now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh it's the same. You just once per phase or once per game in a phase get to use a command ability for free. Like now it's just that.
It might as
Nothing
well
else.
just be get a free command point sometime in this game.
Yep. Yeah, which is like basically what strategist
Which,
is.
which is weird because before it wasn't very good in the first place, not for us at least, and
Yeah.
now they made it even less useful. Is
Well, I
every
mean, it wouldn't have been too bad if you're doing like a Dracothian's Tale combat charge list to get the double attempts for Onward to Victory.
I don't
But
know what
yeah.
that's like at all. Hmm.
Yeah, but otherwise not really a thing.
It just seems like a weird choice, especially because the wording in the first place seems really clear that that is
It was intended to be that way.
yeah, like
Yeah. Otherwise, it would just
without
be
being
strategist.
issued and without a command point being sent. What does it even mean by with the command not being issued if that's not the goal?
Yeah, if it counts as having been
Does it
issued,
mean
I
it
don't
doesn't
understand.
need a hero in range? Does it mean you do?
Oh, that could be it.
But
You
the
don't need a vector, which
but
is still that's a thing,
I
because like
suppose.
Croxagore don't have a alpha, Salamanders, Razordons don't have an alpha.
But those are
Um,
the very minority.
yeah, yeah, but still, like that is a thing at least. So it's now not indistinguishable. But yeah, it seemed to me as though it were clearly intended so that you could use either at the double or onward to victory twice.
Or all out fire if you took a battery of
Yeah, exactly,
artillery.
exactly.
Anyway, it's they took something that was very clear and made it confusing.
Yeah.
Let's see. Started here. Yep, we have some precedence rules that doesn't really change anything, just clarifies. Um,
Yep.
if a unit receives the redeploy command also receives the unleash hell command. Can that unit shoot? No. Which makes it seem like redeploy is now a run
Or a retreat.
or a retreat,
Yeah,
which
I
is
don't know.
weird because it doesn't apply to charges.
Yep.
Except you can't shoot. The only time you could do that is if you double popped command abilities. So now it says, I don't know why it words this question this way and just said, can you use redeploy and unleash hell in the same battle round? And it would say no. But you can use them, you just don't get the benefit of the second one.
Yep.
That just sounds like a gotcha moment for a new player.
Yep.
Oh, you can't do that. You wasted your CP. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that, but you know there's some ass out there who will.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably just lucky, but like my community, like even like playing in tournaments and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
it's just not something that would ever come up.
Fair enough. It.
But yeah, no, like somewhere in some friendly local game store, there's a that guy who's gonna get someone with it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and then we've got some clarification. Can a
Yep.
unit finish a move halfway up the side of the wall for on a terrain feature? Yes, yes it can.
Yeah, climbing's a thing.
We've always known this. Can a unit
Yep.
jump down and get free movement? No.
Yep.
Stop being stupid.
Yep.
I guess some people think it's weird that you just stop halfway down,
I
but
guess. Yeah.
I don't know why they would ask that in the first place. Uh, and then they repeat the redeploy unleash hell. No
Yep.
double tapping. Let's see. Strap of models must pick a target unit for all attacks that will be made by the models in that unit. Can you clarify which takes precedence? It did. Yeah. More
Yeah.
precedence
It's
rules.
the way it always was.
Yep. Those questions always confuse me. I guess, especially when we've got more important issues that need addressing that they
Yes.
don't.
I do like that they addressed the pile-in. This is always how I had interpreted it,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because it's the case. That's how the rules are written. The question is, what happens if a model making a pile-in is equal distance from two enemy units at the start of its move? And the answer is it must finish the pile-in no further from each of those enemy models than it was at the start of the move. So
That
you can
you
stop models
yep.
from being able to move still. That's
You,
always been the case. It's one of the reasons I like precision measure widgets because you can make sure that they are undeniably equal distance and then stick them in place.
mm,
Um, that is still a thing.
yep. This is
Um,
definitely going to cause arguments, but yes, you can still pincer people,
yep.
which is fun. But that
Yeah, like I don't have a problem. Like I use it, so obviously I don't have a problem with it. But I like it because it adds more to the importance of sequence activation because you can make a pile in order to prevent a unit from being able to pile in, especially like those units that don't have to charge to be able to do it. If you can do something to gain a movement to make them equidistance, then
mm,
they can't pile. Stuff like that.
also a
Um,
fun way to deal with Archeon.
yeah, yeah, and all sorts of things. So I'm glad that it's been clarified as specifically being a thing. It just makes my life easier when I'm like, nope, this is the way it works. It says you cannot end further away from the closest model. If two models are equally close, you can end further away from either of them.
Yeah,
Um,
probably
yeah,
going to cause
so
some debate at the table about which unit is closer, but that was always true.
precision measuring widgets.
Yep. Let's see. And the big one, we have some changes to bodyguard effects.
Yes.
They no longer stack with ward saves, which
Yep.
okay. But unfortunately, we have some confusion with saves
Yes.
in which old ward save wording abilities and new ward save wording abilities now stack again, which they took
Yes.
away. Why, GW? This seems like such an easy thing, Yes, we know we haven't updated all wording in all books. Books. All wards are wards. They do not stack. Oh, never mind. It looks like vermin seers are a thing again. It
Yeah,
looks
the unkillable vermin.
it
Yep.
looks like the new amulet now stacks with everything.
Yep. Yeah, so giving a Stonehorn amulet, that's now scary.
Yep. Giving a frost heart is now a 5-up ward and a 4-up ward. That thing is
Yep.
now unkillable.
Yep.
I this one baffles me. It
Yeah, it was a bad. It's bad.
it really confuses me. It seems like such an easy thing to get right, and then they didn't.
Yeah, no, it was good before.
Yeah,
Uh,
before it's all wards do not stack,
yep.
except when now they do.
Yeah. I don't even understand what that rule means at all anymore. Like, I don't understand words anymore. Like, I just straight up don't. What is a
Well,
ward save?
we
Like, is
we
it no
know what a
longer
word save is.
clarified by the core rule? Because a ward save is a save after save.
Well, each new ability, is now called a ward save. So those are all ward saves. The original ability, like the Ashless 6-up, acts like a ward save, but isn't because we said so now. It used to
Yeah,
be that everything that acted like a ward save was a ward save. Now that's not true anymore. What acts like a ward save isn't unless we say it is. So you can use them all at the same time.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I don't even know which saves are ward saves now.
The ones
Like,
that say they are.
so only the new rules, so Stormcast Eternals and when they come out, are going to be ward. Because
Yep.
I haven't seen a rule anywhere that says has a ward save of.
The Amulet of Destiny would be the only one.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so just
Yep.
everything sucks.
It's a monumentally bad decision on Games Workshop's part, and it makes
Yes.
things incredibly stupid.
Yes.
Uh,
But it
pro-
does help Fire Slayers, and they were doing not great, so I'm okay
yep.
with that at least. Same for OBR.
Yeah. So they fixed a problem, and then they immediately unfixed a problem. Like it
Yeah.
hasn't even been 6 months.
And it seems to explicitly contradict the purpose of the rule in the core rules book when the game was released.
Yes. So not a good look. Makes some things incredibly difficult. But
Yeah.
and we're gonna have to play under it for 6 months. Good job, James Workshop.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ba, 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 ba. Terrain. Faction. Yeah. Is faction terrain? Yes.
It's still terrain.
I love some of these questions. Is this
Yeah.
thing what it says it is? Yes. Granted, we actually have to ask that now because James Workshop just said no.
Yeah.
Although this one is
The garrison?
the yeah no the one that is there any faction terrain that gets set up after the battle begins?
Not anymore.
Then why is this a question?
I don't know.
Okay, moving on.
Because it all got changed. It was only. Oh, no, 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 no. There is Wildwoods
Oh, okay, yep,
as you
yep.
summon them.
Oh, wait, that's kind of unfortunate. Oh well. Wildwoods are weird. There have been so many changes to them, like consistently. The War
Yeah.
Scroll has been put through the grinder repeatedly. I I, I pity Sylvaneth because they keep having to change how they do things because their main faction mechanic keeps changing with no warning.
Yeah. Um,
Whether
and
yeah,
like,
whether it makes them better or not, it just keeps changing, and they keep having to change stuff.
and it's good because like you can use the single tree arc anyways from the new Awakened Wildwood. So it should be perfectly possible to place it on the table when you do summon it. And it will reduce your ability, like they can't do like the whole skitter leap null hole thing that Skaven does, where like they get up there, they get in range of it, and then they jump away. Like Sylvaneth used to be able to like summon a tree near a caster and then send the caster away.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that now. You'd have to be at a tree, summon a tree, go to a tree. It doesn't work both directions because their teleports require them to be within 3 inches of it, and so this new change stops them from doing that. But overall, like it's not. It literally only impacts Sylvaneth. I can't think of any other faction that sets up faction terrain after the game has started.
Maybe that's going to change, and they had to put it in the rule in place.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially, let's see, Stormcast seemed like they'd be able to drop stuff from the sky.
Yeah, and maybe they'll finally get a piece of faction terrain.
Maybe.
Oh my god, if they get a drop pod.
It's crap. That's exactly what it's going to be, isn't it? Okay. Garrison. Garrison now works like boats, only they don't actually die, they just go into limbo.
Yeah, it does not count as slain. That is crucial.
Wait a minute. Oh crap, you could abuse that.
Exactly.
You could put like a 2-man skink unit in there and and destroy it yourself in order to remove them from the game so you can't fail your major objective.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's weird and dumb. Why did they say it does not count as slain? Just kill it.
I don't know. I don't know. But yes, you can abuse it.
Wait, does this work with characters that can deep strike? Because they start out not in play and then they can drop from the sky.
So this one's specifically for the garrisons, though.
Right. Like if you were to remove a unit in a garrison that can deep strike, can they deep strike again?
Ooh, because they're not slain.
And they're not on the table. And the rules say if this starts not on the table.
But it would have.
We'll have to ask.
I would say rules as written, yes. But that seems like a glaring oversight.
Yeah, like it's not gonna matter. That doesn't ever come into play because garrisons are so rare. But
you could garrison 15 chameleon skinks, set up in a way that there's nowhere for them to set up, blow up your faction terrain after you've shot with them, and get a free ambush out of it. But it's not worth the argument that would cause.
Yeah, no, definitely not. It's just a really weird ruling that leaves stuff open to interpretation. Now,
yeah. Sorry, I just remembered the next one that's coming up, and I'm so happy they finally pointed out that they were idiots.
If Garrison was more common in the game, this would have a really big, oh no, we really need to figure this out, but it's not. It only applies to like a dozen units in the game, not even that. So it's just a weirdly ruled answer.
Yeah.
All right. You're excited about the next one? Take us through it.
The next one. If an objective is placed on the border between 2 territories, is it considered to be within both of them? Does this mean the objectives are considered to be wholly within both of them? The answer is no.
Good. You were wondering about that.
They were wrong because that's not how math works. But 2, I'm glad that there is finally some specification because the implication of an objective being able to be wholly within and stating it means that there's potentially objectives that are not.
Okay. It's good that we got an answer even if that answer is wrong.
Correct, yes. And my assumption had always been this is the way it was intended. So with any of my opponents, I talked about it with them when it was a battle plan that mattered and discussed how they would like to handle it.
Yep.
Because I was confident that this is what they intended. and they're liberal arts majors, not math majors. I say this fully as a liberal arts person, but I also understand mathematics and plotting vectors.
Yep.
So it was clearly, if it's in, it's wholly within. It's doesn't that point doesn't have a measurement. It's a spot. Like yeah.
Yep. It does
But
make
I'm
some
glad they clarified.
minor tactics entirely impossible on more than half of the maps, but at least they clarified.
Yeah, and like that's I think was also supposed to kind of be the intent when they designed it. Um, and I've already been playing it this way, except for one person who didn't want to play it this way. Like out of at tournament, oh, how many games did I play? 30-ish games at tournament since the new edition. I've only had one person who wanted to play it strictly rules as written.
Okay.
So most of the time I've been playing it this way, anyways.
Which is fair. It's yeah, it seems like a problem that could have been prevented, but you know.
Yep.
Let's see. I know that we can't use one unit to control more than one objective. Can I do that anyway? No.
Yeah. Well, it's model. It doesn't say unit. This is very important. This is a rule that comes up all the time that I have to remind people at events. It's come up with people that I've played that are in pretty high ranks in ITC. Units can control multiple objectives. Models cannot.
Although now the neither unit or model no unit can control two.
Correct. So this is a big change.
Moderately so. Yes. Generally, I think they're just trying to prevent stringing out a unit really hard, but I that rarely ever
Well,
came
no.
up.
So this is a big change for a couple reasons. One, it means Sons of Behemoth can't get their objective onto your objective and control both of them.
Oh, yep.
Yep. So that is pretty big. It also like there's a lot of objectives that are pretty close together. Where you could easily stay in the new coherency rules and be on both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is something that I had happen in, I don't know, a fifth of my games, where one of us at some point had a unit controlling more than one objective. So yeah, no, like this is a pretty big change, at least for my meta.
Fair enough. And yeah, and it's one of those things that could cause arguments at the table that they got rid of instead of adding. So good job on this one, Games Workshop. You managed to actually clarify things instead of make it even more nebulous.
Yeah.
Credit where credit is due. You got it right this time.
And I'm excited about this next one. This is regarding endless spells.
Yep.
This
and we're gonna do a bit of rules lawyering because there's
it,
some
it
confusion
used to
elsewhere.
be the case back before, like when Malign Sorcery first came out. It used to be the case that things that increased the range of spells, increased the distance at which endless spells could be set up on the table.
Yep.
That is now back. There
Yep.
had been an errata back in second edition that they were like, whoa,
Because Marathi
shenanigans are happening.
Yeah, Marathi had like plus 12 inches to
Exactly.
spell range.
You can't do that. But now you can again. So that makes our Saurus Ashloth bearer that much better.
Yep.
And now his ward isn't a ward, so if we get other things that are wards, we can stack them. Yeah, so I mean...
I think it's mainly... they added this back in mainly because Balewind is gone.
Yeah, because you're not getting plus 12 to casting.
Yeah, because Balewind acted as a foot-long teleport when you cast it, and then gave you another spell.
Yes. Yeah, because you would step Bellwind up within 6 inches, and it only had... Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't fix it all the time. I was a bastard when it came to Balewind setup because do you know that old at the beginning of Age of AOS they came out with that mage tower that had that platform on it?
Yes.
I would always put my slan like an inch away from that, drop the Balewind on top of that platform, and then put my slan on top of it because vertical distance doesn't matter for casting.
Correct, yes.
Which means that no one could assault him. Because
yes.
I'm a tool. But yes, it didn't stop us from abusing that ability, but it definitely changed it. And yeah, now that Balewinds is Legends, this makes sense to bring this back because it doesn't
Yeah,
really matter.
yeah. I
It,
mean, it makes Nagash better because Nagash or Archon, sorry, the black can increase the range of his casting.
mhm.
So that's cool. Like OBR needs it. Uh,
But
yep,
yeah, mainly endless spells have gotten weaker, and the big problem child has been removed. So this
yep.
really
So
doesn't.
now it can come
Well,
back.
sorry, one of the two big problem childs have been removed. The other one's still around, but less abusable.
Yeah.
Yep, rat trap's still a thing. The other, there seems to be a lot of confusion online about whether this applies with being able to cast through skinks and trogs.
Yeah, it does.
Apparently, it does seem to apply. You can, according to Wizard, because.
Oh, so I'll just read it. This is the Arcane Vassal ability. When this model is attempting to cast a spell before making the casting roll, you can pick either a friendly skink wizard that's within 12 inches or one friendly oracle anywhere in the battlefield. If you do so and the spell successfully cast and not unbound, you must measure the range and visibility from the spell of the spell from the skink wizard or oracle. You
Yep.
just measure the range and visibility from that. There's nothing that says that range and visibility can't be increased. Like,
Yep, it seems fairly straightforward. Some people could quibble that endless spells aren't spells and so it does not apply, but it seems like this, especially with above arguments of all the problem children are gone, it seems like this is fine. It's not going to break any games.
well, and it doesn't. Yeah, yeah. Like if they didn't, yeah. Uh, I'm uh, I'm not seeing how it doesn't work. Like people talking about the whole range issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think the having to be within 12 inches throws people. I don't know. But they should definitely stack.
Yep. And if not, it would be a weird exception because we're the only ones that it applies to.
Yep.
Invocations do count as prayers for priests, just like endless spells count as spells for wizards.
Yep.
This is this kind of hurts some lists. It kind of doesn't. Mainly, it's just clarification. Good on them.
Yeah, it already it didn't change anything for daughters because daughters already had to abide by that rule, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it just
So
made that universal
it
for the old.
hurt Blades of Corn and Skaven.
Mm,
I
Skaven have
think it was.
invocations.
Oh no, they don't. No, they don't.
Yeah,
It
no,
hurt Blades of Corn.
they hurt Blades of Corn, who really didn't need to be hurt anymore.
For
Why?
some
Why
reason,
did
I
it?
was thinking their bell that they could summon was a prayer, not a spell. But no, it's definitely a spell.
I mean, they might change that in the future, but Skaven's book is old before
Yes.
invocations was even a thing.
Yep. Uh,
That is more than one. Can I use? Wait, what? Oh no. At the end of a charge phase, each player can carry out one monstrous rampage from the
yes.
table below each friendly monster. If I have a unit that is a monster that has more than one model, can I use a monstrous rampage with each model from that unit? Yes.
Yep.
Oh,
Looking at you, sons of behemoth.
no. That actually makes those giants not shit. And the
Well, they
fact,
weren't bad anyways, because they if a unit of three of them counted as 60 freaking models on an objective, and they had like over 20 attacks.
yeah,
Like
but they
they were
died to a
already.
stiff breeze and they couldn't move anywhere and they were fat as hell. This does help with that, but what I'm
Yeah.
worried about is they're probably going to give Stormcast double Dragon Knights.
Yes.
So, oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even more unhappy
Uh,
that we keep giving away our dragons to the most popular faction.
I know, right?
Such a bad lore decision. Don't
Which
even.
is weird. I rarely see Stormcast like in any number at an event. Like there'll be a Stormcast guy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like it's rare that I'm like we went to one event one time and I remember being like, "Whoa, there's four Stormcast players," and like that was shocking. I've
Granted,
never been like, "Holy cow, there's four Orc players."
mm, granted, I think that's mostly because Stormcast are uh, dry toast and
Yes.
their rules have sucked for a while. So
Yeah.
they don't have the personality to keep dedicated players around. and they haven't had the rules to make anyone really want to play them.
Yeah, well, I mean, except like Jack Ballard, like
Granted,
every event I showed up to, he was playing. Where
there
yeah,
are
he was,
exceptions to every rule.
but now his Lumineth Rumlords because they're Stormcast but better. Like
Yep.
he was playing Shootcast, Sentinels, best
Yep,
shooting
yep,
in
yep.
the game. Why would I play Shootcast? Just switch to elves.
Okay, now we have a keyword one that seems like it would be obvious, and then they make it confusing.
So this is actually good because it like this is how it always was and
Yes.
how it should have always been played, but they fully clarified. And it is important because um especially for Lumineth Realm Lords, like you have something that lets you kill their wizards, like say stuff them in Masak,
Mm-hmm.
uh and that unit's no longer a wizard. Um so
Yep.
that is important.
Basically,
Um
the rules work like we say it works, but be aware it only applies to a single model if it says it does. Actually, the rules work like they say it works, and they work like it say it works.
Correct.
This is one of those dumb questions that didn't need to be asked, but apparently so.
Hey, reading comprehension, it's going down.
Yeah.
Impassable is impassable.
Yep, impassable is impassable, which means even if they smash our realm shaper, it's still a massive wall that fat people can't walk over.
Yep.
Yeah. Which actually leads to some shenanigans if you want to. If
Yep.
you want to protect one of your wizards and you're playing teleporting, you can put this edgewise across the corner and then just drop your skink back there if he's in danger.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Some terrain features have the wildwood on their war scroll. Is this scenery rule for the purposes of demolish monstrous terrain? No, wildwoods are always wildwoods.
Yep.
Which, okay, good. That was all that we mentioned when that ability first came out. Poor Sylvaneth. It's
Yep.
not poor Sylvaneth anymore.
Yeah. They clarified maximum unit size means maximum number of models in a unit. Woohoo.
I mean,
They clarified that you can, in fact, take core battalions more than once,
yep, we
which is
always.
good because I had been doing it.
Yeah, everyone had been doing it. This is what we all assumed, but it's good to have confirmation.
Yep.
Uh, can a flaming weapon spell from Universal Spell Lore be used to pick a mount's melee weapon? Yes.
Yep.
This
Which
is
is great.
fun. It's not good, but it's fun. At least not for us. There are some armies out there that really, really like this. I can think ogres with tomes for one.
Yeah.
Griffins
Chaos
with
Sorcerer
tomes.
Lord on Manticores.
Yep.
There's a number of things that yeah. A lot of them are named, but there's still enough that aren't named that it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Also means you can give an Engine of the Gods, Arcane Tome, and make his horns do more damage, or his feet, or whatever you want to do.
Yep.
Same for Skink Chief.
With Skink Chief, this is actually really good because you can buff his attacks so hard.
Yes.
7 attacks that were 1 damage and now become 2 damage is a lot of damage.
Yes.
Yes, and then they clarified unique characters cannot use the universal spells. That's unfortunate, but life happens.
It is how rules were written. It just wasn't clear to a lot of people if it was rules as
Well,
intended.
it's rules as written until the FAQ came out and said, "Hey, never mind, none of that applies except for universal spells." Apparently,
they said specifically, like those characters, if you read like through those rules,
right.
it applied to
It's
their
only
spell lores.
right. So everyone's
Yeah.
all, "Oh, if it doesn't apply to any other spells, does it apply to universal?" No.
And they were like,
Okay, expected but disappointing considering
Yeah.
you fixed it everywhere else.
Yep. I've never even done anything with contested generals.
Yeah, Path of Glory, Contest of Generals, we're skipping. If it's your thing, great, but we don't care.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, and mount traits cannot be doubled up on. Sorry,
Yes.
ogres. I know you were having fun with that, but you can't take more than 1 metal cruncher in an army. Fun detected, not for you.
Yep. Sorry, Boulderhead.
Yep. I mean, I think they were the only ones this was a problem with, but
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the core stuff. A lot of stuff to go over. A lot of stuff
Yep.
that's just weird. Some, yeah. So, some general changes before we get to Seraphon. Zinch's horrors got fixed, kind of. Still
Oh
just as
yeah.
good. They're just different now. They can't bring models
Yep.
back, so that cheese where you scythed your own units in order to bring more dudes back isn't a thing anymore. Good.
Yep. Well, and like in general, they're just much easier to kill.
Yeah. They granted they have like +1 to save naturally now, which
Yeah,
yeah,
but
that's a thing.
like
But I don't think it's changed anything a whole lot. People
they're
that still
still much more killable because of like just the change to like not being able to yeah, just their war scroll change is significant enough uh that they're a lot easier to kill. Like,
yep.
yeah.
People who still had trouble with them will still have trouble with them. People who didn't will still won't. I don't think it really matters all that much.
Yeah, like changing the split and the split again mechanic basically meant that they couldn't use destiny dice if they still had their banner alive
Mm-hmm.
to bring back D6 more pink horrors. Like that was a big part of what made them stick to the table so well. You had to for sure kill 10 pink horrors or however many were in the unit if they were bringing a
Mm-hmm.
larger unit in order to make any progress. Otherwise, you were just helping them. Um,
Yep.
so
So that's a big
yeah, like they got a lot more killable. Because it used to be you didn't do anything to them until you were confident you could do 10 or 20 damage, whatever it was. Um, which got a lot harder to do when third edition came out. Um, because there's just less consistent focus fire.
yes.
Uh, so
So
yeah, this is a significant nerf, in my opinion. They're still good. I don't think you're going to see horrors disappear. But it is a significant nerf, in my opinion.
mm, giants can now walk over anything, not just small guys. So
Yep.
good for
And same for
giants.
terrain, which is good because what it said is if the terrain is 4 inches or taller, what that means, if any portion of the terrain exceeds 4 inches, that
Mm.
piece of terrain is taller than 4 inches.
And
So
almost
long
all
strider just
terrain
didn't
is.
work. Yeah, because like even the wall and fence, the one with the tree, that little tree exceeds 4 inches. Uh, yeah, like there was so much that it just didn't work for. And the storm vaults, like with all their pillar caps, like you couldn't move over any of the storm vaults. They all have those pillars. Like, yeah,
It
it
was a
worked
dumb
on a
rule in the
very
first
limited
place.
number of things.
Yeah,
Yes.
I understand why they thought that was a good idea, but it wasn't, and now it's gone.
Yeah.
A personal quibble for me is that KO's spell in a bottle now does not let them control their own spells.
Yep.
This is familiar.
Yeah.
Not being able to control your own stuff. That's a thing I don't know anything about. It's
Hey, I still brought the realm shaper to every game.
granted, I did too, because it was better than we thought. Still, it's a dumb rule then, it's a dumb rule now.
I
They're
agree.
never going to take anything that's not Rat Trap anyway, but it's a stupid call on James Workshop's.
Yeah, it's already either Comet or Warp Lightning Vortex. Like,
Yep. So,
yeah.
it doesn't matter, but it kind of does, mainly because you're being a tool.
Yeah, it feels bad.
Yeah. Let them control their stuff, James Workshop. That's why they took their stuff. If you think
Yeah.
it's too powerful, then change it.
Yep.
Don't just take it away.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. Hollowheart got stronger.
Yes.
They now know and can cast 2 spells. Good on them.
Yep. Archeon got a horizontal buff. I still think it's more of a nerf than a buff. His Eye of Sharon is now no longer reroll 6 rolls to hit him.
Mm-hmm.
It is once per game at the start of your hero phase. Declare that he'll be -1 to hit. He's -1 to hit until the start of your next hero phase. always having to reroll sixes, in my opinion, is better because
Oh
it's
yeah,
always there
it's
and
generally
it's
just them removing reroll mechanics.
correct. The times where it's not better is if they're hitting on a two up,
Hmm.
then you'd much rather be negative one to hit than reroll sixes. Like, but the majority of the time, I'd rather. But mathematically, overall, it's mostly a horizontal shift versus a buffy debuff.
It depends. It's very much like you said. What are they hitting on in the first place?
Yeah,
And plus, and rerolling sixes was never good because it reduced damage. It was good because you denied abilities.
yeah, the exploding effects.
Hmm. It would have made more sense if you could say once a game you ignore sixes abilities.
Yeah,
It
uh, yeah,
still, this is better than that, and it's a thing. Keep it in mind when you're not trying to kill Archeon, because that's not what you try to do against him.
yeah. I mean, I normally do.
Like eventually, but not until you've
Yeah, yeah,
dealt with everything else.
yeah. Or like they make a slip up and then I just blow it up.
Hmm. Alrighty, let's see. Anything else that we want to address before we jump into the lizards?
Uh, they fixed some things that they had. So a lot of these are. This used to be a rule in second edition.
We changed
We
it.
took it as a given. We forgot that we didn't transfer it over. Now it's back. Like that is
Yeah.
a lot of
Dis-
the Serratas.
Despite the fact that we copy and paste everything, we kind of screwed up when we copy and pasted everything, so now we're copy and pasting again.
Yeah. So that's cool. Like there were a bunch of things that I had not honestly realized were no longer rules that were rules.
Hmm.
Um, so that was kind of cool. Like just to point out like the blind spots that I've had in this edition already. Even having played some 30 odd games at events for this edition. Um,
Yep. I mean, they didn't do that with everything. They're still going to have to keep on adding
oh
things
yeah.
they dropped and never replaced, but they did better this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like every single Chaos errata had to clarify what coalition was. I really feel like that should have just been in the freaking core.
Yes, I agree. Hashtag water type
Uh,
rules.
yeah. Like I don't even know why they put it in like everything that has coalition. Like maybe it's just so that those people wouldn't miss it. They're like, they're not going to check the core one. Everyone only reads their own armies errata. Like maybe there was something to it. I don't know. Maybe there
Hmm.
was madness in
I
their
think it
method.
shouldn't have been a problem in the first place. It seems like something you should have fixed beforehand.
Yeah.
Uh, honestly, I think if this was their original goal, they should have fixed it beforehand. I thought it was just if you can coalition, then it's perfectly fine to make a sorcerer your general.
Yes.
I mean,
Also,
cities can do it.
yeah.
Why can't chaos?
Yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off. What were you going on?
I was going to say it really bothers me that it's two in every four instead of one in every two.
Hmm.
Like, I understand why it matters. Like, you have to build your army in intervals of four to take whatever. But it's just annoying. Like, part of the whole pitch of this edition was we're getting rid of the old stupid battle tome battalions that were too restrictive in army building, and we're
Hmm.
making this an open build. Like, I just find it weird that they thought coalition stuff needed to be nerfed. Like, this could be my own like inserting my own grievance, but it really feels like the coalition rules were like, all right, we came up with Slash Battle Tome, and everyone was like, it sucks. I'm gonna use the Battle Tome, but just play Slaves to Darkness. And this is their way of being like, no, you have to play with the new stuff. That's bad.
That
Like
we
I
keep
don't
making bad and not fixing.
exactly. Like we made you too good once, so for the next 4 years at least, you have to be bad. Like that's what the coalition rules feel like to me, honestly. Like it doesn't. I don't see it in terms of how it changed armies that were at high end tables,
Hmm.
other than Slanesh. Like Slanesh is no longer just here's my Marauders in a lurid haze with Sigvald. Now you have to actually use Slanesh units. Like that's pretty much yeah. So I
Which
don't get
means
it.
they're going to disappear and do worse than they were already doing, and they were already doing very, very badly.
Yeah, except Now, one event where they got like 4-1 at like a 50-person tournament.
Uh, um, but if the one exception is going 4-1, they aren't doing well.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
That's like old ogres. Sorry, old beast claw raiders. It was possible to go 4-1 sometimes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not often. Alrighty,
Yep.
on to Seraphon.
Woohoo!
Does coalesced battle trait scaly skin work like it used to work? Yes. We're sorry we didn't put it in. We should have in the first place. Stop yelling at us.
Yeah, like that one pissed me off. I was like, I could have been using it all along. Uh, but yeah, I just been playing it like it was supposed to be played.
Yep, because we're people of integrity, I suppose.
Yeah, and I
Or we're just
didn't
idiots.
know. I missed it.
Yep. Lore of Celestial Dominion, Drain Magic. Drain Magic has a casting value of 9. 9. Holy crap.
Yep.
If successfully cast, all endless spells within 24 inches of the caster that are not bound are dispelled.
Yep.
Yay! It's not useless anymore. It's
Yep.
now very niche. I
Yeah.
still think that most of the time you're not even going to bother because casting value of 9 is a lot bigger than casting value of 10.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Uh,
7. Bleh.
yeah. There's a lot of endless spells that go off on like an 8 though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so if you're wanting to get rid of multiple endless spells anyways, like, and we have so many bonuses to casting, like we have more bonuses to casting than unbinding just because of the Astrolith Bearer, that
Yep.
I can actually see myself in a situation where I'm like, okay, at the start of my hero phase, I'm going to use my slan ability, or at the end of my hero phase, I'm going to use my slan ability, pick drain
Yep.
magic, and then at the start of my next hero phase, I'm going to pop it off.
It
Like,
is
because we have
some.
that
Yeah.
flexibility.
It is something that will come up. True.
Yeah.
It's still not very good.
No, it's never going to be the spell that I pick to start my slam with.
Yep. The
Like
only time you
unless
would ever take it is if someone's playing endless spell spam, and even then, half the time you're just going to shrug your shoulders and say, "I've got better spells to be casting at the moment."
yeah, and yeah.
Yep.
Yep,
It wasn't good then. It's not good now, but at least it works again for when you desperately need it.
yep. I'm sure
Yay!
you're super happy about this next one though.
Oh, okay. Saurus Sunblood, Scent of Weakness. Change role to you can use this command ability when you pick a friendly Saurus unit to fight in the combat phase. That unit must receive the command until the end of the phase. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by that unit. Hmm.
Yeah.
Why do they hate Saurus so much?
The reason it's a big deal, if you're unaware, is
Yeah.
it means that you can't target them with other command abilities like you used to be able to.
Sunblood
Like,
used to target an enemy unit, which means
yep,
that you could hit an enemy unit and your own unit with the command ability on turns, which means you could still stack them. For a
yeah, you could
faction,
do like exploding sixes and +1 to wound.
yep. For a faction that's all about synergy and stacking buffs, this was the last instance in the entire game of us being able to do that. They continually take away our one shtick. They keep doing this. They keep making the bad part of our army worse. On
Yep,
top of that, his range used to be 12 Holy Within, which gave him a much bigger bubble than this, especially because the only time you'd be using this is with, 12 Within.
yeah.
The only time you'd be using this would be with a big Saurus Warrior Blobs, which is what I run. This is now 12 inches Holy Within, which means his bubble is a lot smaller, which means you will never take a Sunblood. Ever. He's more expensive than an Old Blood and does the same thing, and you don't even take Old Bloods. I'm
No,
going
I'm
to
I'm
be.
missing I'm missing the Holy Within.
Hmm? Because this ability has no range, you use the base hero ranges, which is 12
Oh,
Holy
yeah,
Within or 18
yeah,
Holy Within if you make him his general, but why would you do that? That's stupid.
yeah,
The unfortunate thing is this is our best hero model appearance wise. And so I'm going to be using a seer now, which means I'm using 0 Saurus heroes in my Saurus warrior list. Because
yeah,
GW keeps hitting me while I'm down.
yep.
This is remarkably disappointing and entirely unnecessary.
Yes.
Because warriors weren't good before you kept nerfing them, and then you keep kicking them. Stop it.
Yeah. Same for
Stop
knights.
doing
Like
it.
knights aren't good enough to justify it either. Like there's nothing Saurus that's good enough to justify that rule change.
Yep, they hit guard laterally because they nerfed bodyguards in general, which, okay, I understand that. It's less reason to take guard outside of just protecting your slan, and even then, if the only reason is because we can't put any wards on our slan.
Yeah, so it really only saves you like, I mean, it makes you 3 damage easier to kill if you're bringing 2 units of Saurus Guard, but that's really about it.
Mm-hmm.
So at least for me, it doesn't feel too bad.
Right.
Like I normally, yeah,
Like it's a nerf that was unnecessary. They keep unnecessarily nerfing the bad half of our book, and it's
yeah,
frustrating because that's the part of our book that I love.
yeah.
Uh, for those who, it's just not our edition and not our book, and I was waiting for so long for it to be my edition and be my book, and I've been
Yeah,
trying very hard, regardless, to make it work, and it keep making it harder.
yeah.
Hmm. Just really, really frustrating.
I get it.
Anyway, and the last.
Engine of the Gods got better though.
Yes, which is good because it started off like Engine of the Gods has just been the when servers keep getting hit and Engine keeps getting better. Engine started out really, really crap, like
Yep.
really bad in our book, and then they made dinosaurs good again, which
Yep.
made it actually really good because being able to hand out wide area heals to big wound pool units is
Stegos, yeah.
great. And
Yep.
then yep. And then monster on top of that, monsters got better, and it's a monster. And
Yep.
now it's a priest. It's not
Yep.
gonna matter, but it is. Have fun.
I mean,
It
you can now put hill on it, so you get another
Yep.
hill.
Like
uh,
it's good. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's just it's a much more minor buff than the ones it's gotten. Still,
yes,
Engine of the Gods is good again. I get to bring the Duchess out and make my opponents uncomfortable. Yay!
nice. Uh, Another thing that's Seraphon related, but it's from the Monstrous Arcanum. Dread Saurian got a sort of buff in that you now have to take 18 wounds before it starts to get tiered. Um,
And then it took two major nerfs,
yeah,
where it loses
to
Roar of
its
Ruin
bravery.
entirely, which I don't know why they thought Roar of Ruin was good enough that they needed to remove it entirely.
Yeah,
Like, couldn't you have just said -2 or 3 to Battle Shock when in range?
yeah. Instead of D3 extra run,
Hmm? No,
instead
no.
of the
Roar of Ruin just halved bravery.
right. Yep.
Yeah, like it was good, but really, Games Workshop? Do you hate Forge World models that much that you just never want to see them, so you're just going to make them all entirely unplayable? And then it also lost Totem, so it can't buff itself anymore, which
Yeah.
hurts more than what you would think.
Yes. But you can take them in that monster battalion
Yeah, give them extra move.
so that they can onward to victory themselves.
Oh man. But yeah, so those are the general changes. Some confusing, some unnecessary, some outright bad, some
Yep.
some just disheartening, and a couple of good ones in there. Hey,
Yeah.
Games Workshop, this isn't the worst FAQ you've ever released.
I do want to say for other factions, Bone Reapers has had a lot of good improvements. Expect to see them again. Like I
Same
don't
with
think they're back
Firestarters.
up. Yeah, they're. I don't think either of them are back up to S tier, but they now have the potential to play in A tier ranges.
I'm gonna be honest, I never
Because
thought OBR was an S tier.
it was when it first came out.
I don't even
Um,
think it was then. I think people were just bad at dealing with it because it was new.
uh, well, I mean, like this might sound maybe it's not a great argument, but like the best players in ITC were playing it.
Yeah.
Like
I think
and
that had a
winning a
lot.
lot.
Yeah, because they were the best players.
Yeah, but like
Because they were
that's
new and they were
that's who I have
cool.
to play against.
Like OBR was
So like,
OBR was the first new army to come out in how long?
uh,
5 years?
no,
No,
no, because Fires,
uh,
uh,
4 years.
Ideneth was completely new.
Yep, I think that had more to do with everybody playing it than anything else. That and the fact that it was the first interesting death army to come out in ages.
Well, and it was pretty. So before they got FAQ'd, you could not kill Mortek Guard if they had two Galthazar Harvesters.
Granted,
Um,
yes.
like you couldn't. You needed to do like 600,000 damage. Um,
Yeah, but everyone with any 2 bits of sense didn't play that way.
I mean, like 3 tournaments did, because that was how the rules were. Uh, yeah, uh, yeah, and but like after other armies came out, like after Disciples of Tzeentch and Kharadron Overlords came out, OBR wasn't S tier anymore. But when they first came out, yeah,
Mm,
they were S tier. But I think you'll
fair
see
enough.
them popping up in some A tier. Like they'll have list OBR and Fire Slayers that are going to be in the A tier range. So you'll start to see them again. Like if you're playing competitive Age of Sigmar, they're going to show back up.
But yep, it's good to see some armies that fell by the wayside come back. I
Uh,
I don't think that was their intention when they made that rule, but it works.
yep. And like uh OBR's whole shtick was their relentless discipline. And then once they were treated like command points, it's like, oh cool, so now your army doesn't do its thing.
Yeah,
Uh
that yeah, fixing stuff that you broke
so saying
bare
that
minute.
it is still like a command point, but it doesn't act like a command point in the way that screwed it up.
Yep.
Uh so that's nice. But it does mean that if you have things that are like when your opponent gets a command point, still not like that still works against relentless discipline. But they're not shoehorned into not getting to do what their whole army is designed around doing anymore.
Yep. Good job. You fixed what you broke.
Yep.
You met the minimum requirements.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah, we. Sorry, we ended on a salty note for me. I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah. Maybe we should have started the Seraphon changes.
Possibly. Although
Hey,
that might have
but
just
your
had.
Hallowheart got better.
I don't play Hallowheart. I play
Oh, I thought that's what you played
Excelsius.
for Sid. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. They're cooler.
Yes, they're much cooler, and the rules are more fun.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah,
Well, that Marathi finally got her extra point of Rin they gave her back again.
true. I don't have that model though. Yeah, I have a feeling that if we'd started with Seraphon, this would have poisoned our whole conversation. So it's
Oh, that's
probably
true.
good
That's
that we ended with it. Alrighty.
true.
Anything else you want to go over?
No, that was pretty much it. Overall, I like most of the changes. The ward thing is just annoying. Like, it's just annoying. Hopefully, they come out with something that like makes pretty much every save after save a
Yeah.
ward. Like, I don't know why it wouldn't just be errata to say that the ethereal amulet or whatever the amulet of destiny stacks with other ward saves.
If that
Like,
was their goal, I don't know what they were trying to do with this. It's a bad
because
ruling.
like I
Granted,
went on a rules search for like I was looking at like I looked at all the things that had their built-in save after saves and like because I was curious, did they change war scrolls to reflect this? And like nothing's a ward. Like literally the amulet is the only thing that mentions a ward save.
yep, it's a bad call. They shouldn't have done it. There's a couple of those here, but it isn't 2019 FAQ. That one was the still stands out as the worst one ever.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know, maybe the community's reading this wrong because in the core rules it does specifically state that a ward save when it occurs and what it is. So maybe all these things do count as ward saves,
But
and
then
this
what's the
FAQ
point of
doesn't
this
make any.
sentence if it doesn't work the way they're saying it works right now?
Yeah, I don't even know.
So if it
Like,
doesn't work like we think it is, that just means this is a useless and badly written errata. So it's either
yes,
terrible or bad.
Yep. Yeah, I mean something like I'm gonna have to think on. Like, oh man, let me pull it back up. Wards.
Yeah, regardless, we'll
Yeah, I
get
don't know.
back to you guys about this. For the moment, it looks like it works in a really dumb way that they removed and now brought back. But we will see. Alrighty. With that
Yeah, I
said,
don't understand it.
yeah, with that said, the jungle's calling me home. Thank you all for joining us today for
Yeah, thank you
this
so much. It was fun.
confusing wild ride. You have a good night.